Here's a true story that happened to me years ago when I went to New Orleans. In New Orleans, I went to a Mardi Gras, and we were on Bourbon Street, me and a friend of mine. Now, we had went on a trip with a church, and we decided that we were going to sneak away and go on Bourbon Street. And that's what we did that night. So, we go into this store, and I don't remember the store because there was just a lot of stuff going on that street, and we just went into all the stores just to see what it was about. We went into the store. Now, the first thing that happened as soon as we went into the store, this little white dog just come running out the back, just barking at us, as if it was trying to warn us about something. But we didn't pay it any attention, and we wasn't afraid of the dog because it was so small. So we started looking around, and of course they had all kinds of stuff in there, jewelry and things of that nature. And so I went up to the counter, and I was looking in this glass case, and I walked from left to right. Well, there was a man there standing, and he had on all this black lipstick and spiky hair. He even had like a spiky dog collar for his necklace, that kind of punk rock look or whatever. Didn't pay any attention because, it's Bourbon Street. It's Mardi Gras. People do what people do. So I'm looking, and I went to the left, to the right. So I got a chance to see the man on both sides and the front. Now, I want you to remember this. I saw this man from the front, from the left and the right, because I was going up and down this showcase that he had in front of the counter. And I felt like he was really staring at me very hard. And you know how you get that feeling like, something, let me just look up and pay attention to what's going on around me. So when I looked up, the man was just looking at me very hard. And he spoke. Now this is where stuff got really weird. When he spoke to me, he said, "May I help you?" Every time he said something, at the end of his sentence, it would be this type sound. And I'm like, oh my God, what? So, of course, the first time I thought I was tripping. I thought I was like hearing things. But the second time he said it, my friend looked at me, and we both kind of looked at each other with our eyes wide open like, yeah, we just heard what we heard. So we looked at the man, and this is the part now, he stepped to the left. But when he stepped to the left, it was like another person peeled off of him. Like this person shedded off of him like a snake. Now, again, remember, I saw this man from the front, from the left and the right. There was no one else behind that counter with him. So when he moved and another person was standing right there, and this person that was standing there, he wasn't blinking, he wasn't doing anything. It was almost like he was a statue, but he was so focused on us. And so the man that was moving, I couldn't see his feet because he was behind the counter, but the way he was moving, it was as if he was floating. Like he didn't have a 1-2, 1-2 step. It was like a glide, right? So I grabbed my friend's hand real quickly and told her, we gotta go. Right at that moment, a memory came back. See, my folks is from South Carolina, and my grandma used to say, don't invite people in your house unless you really know them, because you can invite a devil or a demon in. And my grandmother always also told me, if you go somewhere and you feel scared, or if you feel that it's full of spirits or it's haunted, then you back out. You never turn your back on a negative spirit. So when I grabbed my friend's hand, I told her we have to back out this store. And she was so afraid, she just did whatever I said. We were holding hands backing out the store. And as I started backing out, the man stopped. He never came completely from around the counter. So I never saw what the bottom half of him looked like. I don't know if he had feet or if he had a snake tail. But he stopped because something inside of him must have felt my grandmother's energy, and something inside of him must have let him know that I knew not to turn my back on him. I knew that he was not a good person or a good spirit. Oh, I knew that he was a spirit. So we backed out of the store, and my grandma said, when you get out the store, say this. And we said it. I leave the way I came, whole and complete, covered with the blood of Jesus, covered with goodness. Any negative spirit or entity that is in this place, you are not welcome to follow me or connect with me in any type of way. And we said that, and then we backed out down the stairs, because it was like 2 or 3 steps you had to walk down. We didn't even turn. We were outside of the store, but we still didn't turn. We didn't turn until we stepped on the sidewalk. And once we got on the sidewalk, let me tell you, we was looking for a cab or a way, some kind of way to get home, back to our hotel, because we had seen enough. We saw enough. We experienced enough. We was finished. Like the two of us, the hairs was standing on the back of our necks. We were so afraid that night. I don't think either one of us slept. We couldn't wait to go back home. We couldn't wait for that day to be, that next day come, because we were leaving to go back to where we lived. We didn't live in New Orleans. So this is my New Orleans true story about spirits. They do exist, and you just got to be careful out here, because everything that looks like a human is not a human, or it's a human that is possessed with something.
Let's talk about it. So I've been seeing a lot of people on social media talking about, people need to be careful when they're visiting New Orleans during Mardi Gras. And yeah, you really do. Y'all just don't realize New Orleans, especially New Orleans, is like a spiritual playground, y'all. Y'all have to realize, like, just because y'all don't see this stuff on a regular, especially people that's not from that area, from the city and stuff like that, just because y'all don't see this stuff or hear about this stuff on a regular does not mean it is not true, y'all. I'm telling y'all, New Orleans is like a spiritual playground. And I get it. When you go to Mardi Gras, you're there to have a good time. You're there for the whole experience. You want to come back. You want to bring souvenirs. You want to try the new foods. You want to let any random person read your palms and record it, and, for the whole aesthetic. But sometimes you just got to think before you go into these knick-knack shops and you buying all these different objects. Y'all don't know what these objects have connected to them, y'all. And I get it, sometimes y'all like, just live. Like, it's not that serious, but it is that serious when you go back home and it's something attached to you, or you don't know what's going on and why things are. It's some evil people in this world. And am I saying that all these people in New Orleans are evil? No. It's so many good people in New Orleans. And I'm not saying that all voodoo is bad. I'm not very, very educated on voodoo, but I do know voodoo isn't the same. All voodoo is different. There's so many different type of voodoos, and that's just something that I don't want any type of connection with. But when y'all going down there and y'all going in all these different knickknack shops, bringing home all these different objects that y'all don't know nothing about just because it's cute, these little dolls and antiques, and like I said, letting people read your palms and getting your energy, it's crazy. I've been seeing all type of people talk about how they've been seeing these like vampire like things, and I've heard a few different stories about the vampires in New Orleans and stuff like that, and they're not what you think, like the vampires with fangs and all that. It's the complete opposite of what you see on TV. Like I said, 9 times out of 10, if you see it on TV or you hear some type of creature on TV, it is real. Most of the time it's real. They didn't just come up with these ideas out of nowhere. But it's not exactly what you think. It's not like how it is on TV. But that's for another topic. If y'all want me to talk about like the vampires, real vampires, then I'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, y'all gotta be careful. New Orleans is like one of the most haunted places in the world. Home to Madame Laurie Laveau, the voodoo queen. Home to Madame Larari. She is one of the most evil slave owners ever known to man. Like, this place has so much history, from all the different slaves coming there and bringing all their traditions and customs and religion to this one town. It's filled with so much history and pain and magic, y'all, and this stuff is real. Like I said, just because we don't learn about it that much here where we are does not mean it's not real. But if I was to go, best believe I'm gonna be prayed up the whole time, y'all. I feel like it's a place that everybody needs to visit. And I get it's fascinating, and I get a lot of this stuff is very interesting. But be careful when you're going on these ghost tours and these different graveyards and bringing back all these different energies and stuff like that. Because just because you haven't seen it does not mean it's not real. Because I promise you that New Orleans is just a place that I don't want to mess with.
Y'all, I've been getting hella like New Orleans, like scary talk videos on my feed, and I got some stories. Okay, so the last time that I was in New Orleans was like maybe a couple years ago, and I was coming from Long Beach, California. I was in my little travel bug bag or whatever, and I don't know what possessed me to just I wanted to go to New Orleans. New Orleans, if you've never been to New Orleans, like, for me, like, it's one of those places, like, after a while, I crave it. Like, I just want to be there. Like, the energy is very unique. And I noticed that some people are really, like, uncomfortable by New Orleans. Real talk, I feel like it's usually, like, racism. Like, let's be real. Like if somebody who's non-black is like, I don't know, like, New Orleans just, like, I'm just like, oh, so you don't like black people? Because one thing I love about New Orleans is the fact that it's so black, and it's such a rich city. It's so cultural, and it's beautiful. I love the ratchet parts too. Shit, that's where the bomb ass food be at. But anyway, like, it's not necessarily just racism. It is a trickster city. It has trickster energy, and that's what I'm about to talk about in these stories. Okay, so I just decided to randomly go down there, and I hit up my friend, and who actually ended up meeting me in Long Beach. I just remember that he was there with me, and he works for the airline. He works for United. So we were just like, okay, we'll meet up in New Orleans, because I had this 2-bedroom, 2-bath, like, really nice Airbnb in Marigny, which apparently used to be the hood back in the day. Y'all let me know in the comments, because I don't know. But that's what he was saying. And then his friend was like, no, it's cute now. So I don't know, whatever. So we go out to the gay bar. We're having a great time, having some drinks. Like, he's from New Orleans. So, like, he got a couple friends. He be in these streets. So, New Orleans is but so big. So people know him. Like, we're having a good time. So this dude, like, a little bit shorter, and I'm tall. A little bit short, I would say like maybe 5'7", brown skin, a little bit on the chubbier side. Dude comes, and he was like, oh, you're so pretty, like, da-da-da-da, like, and it's like, oh, thanks, like, whatever, it's a key. So he's like, oh, you got somebody on your mind, girl. And he's like, oh, you like him. Ew. And I was like, ew. He was like, ew. And I was like, ew, no, but I do. And I was like, not you reading me. And he was just like, he gonna die. When I tell you, something inside of me leapt like it had to be my motherfucking ancestors, because I already know my ancestors don't play about me. Leapt out of me and was like, don't ever say that. My handyman just walked in, so I had to switch it up a little bit. And I just realized I had some ash. Well, it wasn't ash. It's dust from construction. We're doing some construction in my house. Anyway, yeah, that feeling, even when I try to like think about it, I can just describe it as like protection, because the way that I responded so strongly was just like, no, back the fuck up. Like, but it was like, okay, I had some drinks, like the Jameson was flowing, but it wasn't no, like, I was so twisted. Like, I don't get like that when I've been drinking, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like I said, New Orleans has a trickster energy. And when I tell you, like, when I, like, barked like that, he was like, ooh, and, like, just disappeared. I kid you not. Like, the gay bar was not that big. Like, and I even asked my friend, because he was standing, like, not, like, close to us. He was like, I kind of remember that dude, but, like, he's like, I don't know. Like, I didn't see y'all talking or whatever. And, like, I even asked, like, another friend who was, like, with us. And she was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember seeing him. And it's like, all of a sudden, like, nobody saw him. The fuck? I don't like that. No, I don't like that. So the other story is, when I was getting ready to leave, I called a Lyft. And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning. I had a red-eye flight. And when I called this Lyft, bro, like, it wasn't starting to rain. It was already raining a little bit, but pretty lightly. But you know how that go when you're trying to get, like, a car. And, like, it's not New York. Like, you never know how long it's going to take sometimes. Sometimes you do get a car, they be, like, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, like, on some LA shit. So, like, I'm like, okay, like, getting a little nervous, but I finally get a car, and it's some guy. I'll never forget this. His name is, like, Donovan. Bro, when I tell you, again, like, that inner feeling was just like, yo, cancel that shit. So I'm bugging because bitches be late, and I'm like, I'm not late, but I see this rain. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get a car. I'm, like, not really ready to cancel this Uber, but I'm just like, something ain't right. Like, this dude, like, and I know y'all about to be like, don't judge somebody by how they... No, bitch, we judging. Because, like, when I looked at him, like, it's giving the originals. It's giving Vampire Diaries. Like, he's super, super pale, dark hair. Just, like, yo, looking at the picture of him, I just did not feel right. Right when I was about to... just, like, I had clicked on his profile to look on his picture, he messaged me, and he's like, have no worries, we'll be there as soon as I possibly can, we'll make sure to get you to your destination in one piece. It was just like, why are you saying all that? Like, I get it, because when you get, like, DoorDash, you get, like, Lyft or whatever, like, people will message you and just be like, like, little friendly, whatever. Like I said, my gut alarm bells were ringing. So what I did was I ran my Uber to start looking for a car. And the minute that car got, like, I linked up with that car, and I just canceled the other one. But, like, trust your gut. Trust your gut. Like, in New Orleans, trust your gut. If some shit does not feel right, don't ask no questions. Get the fuck out of there. Also, the first time that I ever went to New Orleans, which was not the same trip, first time I ever went to New Orleans, this woman told me, she was like, don't move around this city as like a single woman if you can help it. Try to always have somebody with you. She was like, girls like you disappear a lot here. And I was like, what do you mean, like black girls? She's like, you just have you have an aura. You have like, there's something attractive. And when she was saying attractive, I don't think she meant like physically. I think she was talking about like spiritually. Bitch. I don't like that. I don't like that. And this is the first time I ever went to New Orleans. This was one of the first things she ever said to me. Be careful out there.
If you don't believe in ghosts or anything along the lines of the supernatural, go to New Orleans, walk around the French Quarter around 2 a.m. I can promise you'll be a believer afterwards. We recently were in New Orleans for Halloween weekend. We walked around the Lalaurie mansion taking pictures and captured this. It appears to be a man and woman walking around with each other in Victorian era fashion. Now mind you, we were the only ones out there, with the exception of this homeless guy. Now we were in disbelief, so we ended up going back out there to capture more pictures. Now before I show you the second picture, I want to tell you the backstory of the woman who owned this mansion. That way the photo that I will show you will make a lot more sense. Madame Marie Dauphine Lalaurie was known as the savage mistress of New Orleans. She was a wealthy narcissist who owned and tortured slaves. Her husband was a doctor. They both would perform medical experiments on her slaves in her attic. Investigators would find slaves beaten and bruised, some with holes in their skull and eyes gouged out. Some had their mouths sewn shut as it was filled with excrements. One woman was even wrapped in human intestine. There was even report of a woman whose bones had been broken and reset so she could resemble a crab. No one would have known any of this was going on if it weren't for the slave who was chained to the stove that caused the fire. The slave said that she would rather die than be taken to Madame Lalaurie's attic. Madame Lalaurie had no regard to human life when it came to her slaves. There was an incident of one of the younger slaves combing Lalaurie's hair. When she combed too hard, Lalaurie got mad and chased her to the balcony where the girl fell over and died. Our second incident occurred under Lalaurie's balcony. It was around 2 a.m. and my lady stopped because she felt a chill go up her spine. She felt like something was pulling her hair, which you could see in her body language. At first, her hair was above her head. I was able to capture it once her hair was closer towards her shoulders. Could this have been the same spirit that used to do Madame Laurie's hair? Or was this just the wind, and this is all one big ghost story?
Y'all got another story time. Living in New Orleans, seeing witches, encountering witches and vampires. Lock in, y'all. Lock in, gang. There's a restaurant in New Orleans called, I want to say like For Your Child. I'm screwing the name up. I already know. I ain't gonna even try to pronounce the name. From New Orleans, you know, but it's a bougie restaurant. I think it's on Canal Street, and they walk around and they offer you meat all day long. Lamb chops, steak, any bougie top tier meat. They got servers that dress in like these little weird costumes or whatever it's called, and they slice your meat and give you the meat. Top tier meat though. This is not just like chicken and little. This is top tier meat. You can go to like the middle part of the restaurant where it's like a salad bar and get your salad and then taste all the different meats. Okay, I'm at this restaurant. First time at this restaurant, y'all. I'm with some friends and this chick that I was messing with, right? We chilling, eating, waiting on, I think probably lamb chops or something. We having a good time. The vibes is immaculate. We drinking, you know, vibing, eating, whatever like that. We in there for like probably, I'll say, an hour. The restaurant packed. Keep in mind, the vibes is immaculate as far as everybody that's in there. Okay, an hour and a half for us being there. I kid you not, y'all. I turn my head, peeping the scenery out. I look at the door. It's full witches or vampires that walk through the door. It's finna get real. Hold on. I gotta sit up for this. Y'all, these girls walk through the door on some mean girl intro vibe, like You know that intro of Mean Girls when it's all slow motion and all 3-4 of them walking. I swear to God, this is how they came through the door, but they so cool, calm, and collected. All right, so I look at the door, I see them. I look back at the people I'm sitting with, and then I look around at everybody else and the restaurant, because the restaurant is a bougie restaurant. Like, this is where you get top tier meat at. It ain't cheap to go in that place. I'm looking at the attire, everybody. I'm kind of dripped down. They got on dresses. People got on heels. I look at them. They got on combat black boots, capes. I don't know why white people in New Orleans always want to wear capes. I shit you not, though. If you ever been to New Orleans or you from New Orleans, you know the white vampire looking people like to wear them damn capes. These bitches had on capes, combat boots. Everybody got on nothing but black. Okay, that may be normal to some people. Like, I ain't think too much about it, right? Because maybe that's just they drip. Okay, they walked past me, like behind my back, to get to their table. Bro, when I tell you the energy that I felt from them females that walked past me, my whole body immediately got cold. I remember my body getting cold. I remember like the hairs on my neck and my arms stood up like as they walked past. I'm like, who the fuck is these? Sabrina the witch's heads motherfucking past me. Okay, they sit at their table. I'm not paying no mind. Like, okay, that was weird. Like, you can always feel the energy of somebody when they walk past you. I don't know about y'all, but I can, because I'm like super sensitive to energy. And I be peeping the scenery to everything. Whole time I might be a witch. Anyways, they walk past, I get the weird vibe. Bro, we in a restaurant. 2 minutes go by. The whole energy of the whole entire restaurant changed, y'all. I cannot make this up. I feel it changed. The people that I'm with get quiet. Like, the whole restaurant energy went down. Like, they came in there and it just shifted the energy. But they not bothering nobody. Like, they chilling with their capes and shit. We right here, right? And they table like right at where my other chat. I keep having to look back because I'm trying to piece together why the hell the vibes got messed up when they walked through. All of a sudden, nobody talking, nobody laughing, nobody joking. Everybody just like very like robotic, like still like. Not the plant just fell out of nowhere talking about the story. My plant just fell down just talking about the story. That's weird. But yeah, nobody. And then at this point, I'm realizing everybody stopped getting the meat. Like the service that was coming around asking you, hey, you want to try this? You want to try that? Everybody, y'all, I kid y'all, not everybody in the restaurant stopped getting meat. Like, everybody started saying no. So at first I'm thinking like, oh, whatever they're offering probably is not something that they want. Like, okay. But then I'm dude come to me, he like lamb chops. Why did y'all turn down lamb chops? Anyways, time go by, they get their food, and I'm not even putting two and two together. I'm at an all. This is where I gotta clock it. I realized I'm at an all meat restaurant. Y'all, I cannot make this up, bro. I cannot make this up. I'm at an all meat restaurant. Everybody a lot of people, I'm gonna say a lot of people because I wasn't, but a lot of people who's getting the meat choices that the service is passing out, they meats is looking real raw. Now, I like my shit medium well, but I don't like it raw. It's a lot of raw meat being served. I'ma just say. So I'm peeping at the witches. I just keep peeping because I can't. Like, they just stealing the show, but they not doing nothing besides being booted up by the face. Like, they just had very stale faces. Like, they wasn't enjoying being there, but they was only there like 10 minutes. And it didn't dawn on me till way after that. This is an all meat restaurant. Everywhere I look, I'm seeing cows on the plate still mooing. Man, I really think that was vampires. The energy was cold, just like the other story time that I did. Like, the energy as they walked past me was cold. Like, the energy was cold, not like standoffish cold. I'm talking about the room got cold when they walked past. It was like some Blade slow motion movie scene type of shit. They got capes on. There's no reason for you to be dressed like that at a restaurant like this. All they makeup the same. Nobody smiling. They not talking to each other. It was like they was there to stand on business and eat their food, but it also gave, like, now that I'm thinking about it, saying this shit out loud, it gave like a scene in Twilight or any vampire movie where they go out in public and they gotta eat, but they gotta act normal because they really won't tear up that food, but they gotta keep it calm, keep it cute because they're around humans. Oh my god, that my stomach hurt. Story time over, bro. That shit still give me chills to this day. New Orleans got some weird people in the city, man. This is definitely home of the vampires, voodoo witches.
Hello, TikTok. Fat Girl Freestyle here, back with another creepy, haunted New Orleans tale for you. This happened to me years ago when I worked for the Louisiana State Museum. I did payroll at the Presbytere, which is in Jackson Square, right next to St. Louis Cathedral. And on the other side of the cathedral from the Presbytere is the Cabildo. The Cabildo was also part of the Louisiana State Museum. And being an employee, we were allowed to tour the spaces for free. So the Presbytere and the Cabildo, I believe, were both built during Spanish rule in Louisiana. So very, very old buildings. And if anyone watching this used to work either at the Presbytere or the Cabildo, you can attest to the fact that both of these places were haunted. I've had experiences there. A lot of my former coworkers had experiences there. We used to talk about it in the office all the time. So these places are like certified haunted. I don't hear very many stories about them, but I can tell you I got a couple stories about the Presbyterian where I worked on the way. But this particular tale is about the Cabildo, and more specifically about a haunted item in the Cabildo, or something that has a lot of energy and memory attached to it, which I also have a story about haunted things coming up. So I, on my lunch break one day, decided to go to the Cabildo, and on the third floor is an exhibit, or was an exhibit. They may have changed it. I don't know. I haven't been back since I had this experience. But there was an exhibit on the third floor at the time, artifacts from enslaved people and from the time of slavery. There were pieces of jewelry, there were shackles, I want to say a few clothing items, tools that they may have used, different things like that that were on display. This story is about the slave auction block. They had an actual slave auction block on display as well. And it was maybe 5 feet long, 3 feet wide, very, very heavy wood, very, very heavy. And it was very dark. I don't know if it was stained to be that dark or if just the age of it, but it was very dark, heavy piece of wood, and it was just on display in a particular corner on the third floor. And I'm just walking around looking at the different items in the exhibit, and I came upon the auction block. I was a little taken aback when I saw it, because you hear about these things, but to actually see it in person is completely different story. the thing that stands out about it is the fact that you can see the groove in the center of it, from where the enslaved men, women, and children walked from one side to the other and turned while they were on display to be sold. It was a very deep groove in the center. I will never forget that. And even though you're not supposed to touch the items, something was drawing me in to touch it. So at first I just touched the corner of it. And when I did that, the air around me stopped. Anything I could hear, anything I could feel, just stopped. Complete silence. There was no air moving, nothing. So I moved my hand a little bit closer to where the groove was. And in the distance, I could hear people talking, some of the language I didn't understand. I heard women crying, I heard children crying. A lot of people just talking all at once. A lot of commotion. I got to that groove in the wood and I started moving my hand across it. And the sounds of the people got louder. And I very distinctly heard a woman and a baby crying in what sounded like a distance. But as I moved my hand along that groove in the wood, her cries got louder and the baby's cries got louder. And my breath got caught in my throat and I could feel my heart beating incredibly hard. And this overwhelming fear came over me, but I could not stop touching that groove in that wood. It was such an intense feeling, and the woman's cries were getting louder and louder and louder, and the baby's cries were getting louder, and then someone started yelling, and the sounds just filled my head. And while I couldn't like see anything in front of me, like these images started shooting into my mind, just of people in shackles and like white men yelling and kids, just crying and mothers crying. And at one point there was it was like a family was being pulled apart from each other. They were trying to hang on to each other and they were being pulled apart. And the whole time this woman's cries and this baby's cries are getting louder and louder in my head. And the person yelling, it was a woman. There was a woman yelling. And I just remember feeling like I wanted to jump out of my own skin. And then I felt a tap on my shoulder, but I couldn't stop touching the groove. And again, the sounds, the people filled my head and I was feeling that distress. And then all of a sudden someone is shaking like this and I just kind of, like that. And I turned and it was the security guard for the museum. And he said, "Ma'am, are you okay? You were screaming." It was me that was yelling. And I was so embarrassed, y'all. I was embarrassed. I was in shock. Like, it was just so many things. I didn't even say anything. I just immediately turned and I ran out. And I haven't been back since. So that's my story about that. And it still gets me right here.